The Whitmore family's holiday gathering looked exactly the way it always did: lavish, excessive, and curated to impress. A 12-foot tree glittered in the corner of my parents' Naples, Florida mansion, draped in ornaments that cost more than most people's monthly salaries. The dining room overflowed with catered dishes from a beachfront restaurant my mother adored, and everyone behaved as though their opinions were the gold standard. I sat quietly near the window, my usual jeans and soft cardigan making me look like a visitor rather than a daughter, while my older sister Jenna paraded her new electric Jaguar and her husband Grant bragged about another real estate deal he'd crushed this quarter. At 35, I had become an expert at existing in these spaces without disturbing them. Lena, my mother, Valerie, called across the room without moving an inch. "Be a dear and top off my wine. The Bordeaux, not the California blend your father insists on buying." I rose without comment. "Still playing the obedient one," Jenna murmured as I passed. In the kitchen, I poured the wine slowly, staring through the glass doors at the driveway where my father's Maserati gleamed beside Jenna's Jaguar and Grant's Aston Martin. My 7-year-old Subaru sat out on the street like an afterthought. "Lena," my father, Robert Whitmore, called. "Join us, we have an announcement. It's not all the days of something." He stood near the fireplace as if preparing for a quarterly briefing. At 69, he still spoke with the authority of a man who managed billions in client investments. "Your mother and I have made a decision about your property," he said. A knot formed in my stomach. "What property?" "That cottage you bought in Old Naples," Mom replied lightly. "The one you never seem to use. It's been sitting empty for years, gathering dust and wasting potential." "It's not empty," I said quietly. "I stay there whenever I'm in town." "You're never in town," Jenna cut in. "Always flying off for that, whatever it is you do." Dad lifted his chin. "We sold it. $3 million. Above market. Quick closing. We handled everything." The room wavered around me. "You sold my house." "Don't be dramatic," Mom said. "You added us as co-owners for estate planning. We simply acted. After our standard 20% fee, your share will arrive by New Year's. You should be grateful we turned a wasted asset into cash." "Smart buyers," Grant chimed in. "You sold to a property flipper," I said quietly. "We sold to the highest bidder," Dad corrected, as if delivering a lesson I had somehow failed to learn at 35. "That's how the market works, Lena. Perhaps if you spent less time on that mysterious international work of yours and more time building real wealth, you'd understand." Jenna stretched lazily, pleased with herself. Either way, crisis solved. That cottage was becoming an embarrassment. People kept asking why you had a multi-million-dollar property sitting empty. Made us look strange. "Can't have that," I murmured. "No, we cannot." Mom agreed, entirely missing the sarcasm. "The Whitmores have a reputation to maintain. Your father sits on 2 investment boards. I oversee the hospital foundation, and Jenna's practically running the museum council. We can't have people thinking our daughter doesn't understand property management." "Of course not," I said. My phone buzzed. One glance at the screen made my pulse spike. "Security breach at Old Naples residence. Unauthorized sale detected. Diplomatic security responding. Call immediately Director Monroe." "Excuse me," I said, standing abruptly. Mom frowned. "Lena, we're in the middle of Christmas dinner. Whatever minor emergency you think you have can wait." "Anyway, it can't," I said simply and stepped into the quiet of the guest bathroom before dialing. "Lena," Director Monroe answered instantly. "We've got a situation. Your parents sold the Old Naples property to Bayshore Holdings. The transaction triggered an alert in our system." "I just found out," I said. "They announced it at dinner. As if it were good news." "Do they know what that property is?" Monroe asked. "No. They think it's my unused personal cottage. They don't know it's designated diplomatic housing." "Good God," he muttered. "Lena, that residence is registered as a secured diplomatic site. It's part of your protection protocol as Deputy Chief of Mission. The designation is right there in the property records. Anyone doing due diligence would have seen it." "Bayshore clearly didn't," I said. "And my parents didn't look at all. The Diplomatic Security Service is already mobilizing," Monroe continued. They're treating this as a potential breach. The sale is void, but there may be criminal implications: fraud, unauthorized transfer of federal property, violations of the Foreign Missions Act. I exhaled slowly. Criminal charges. Yes, Monroe said. And DSS will be at your parents' home in about 15 minutes. I'm sorry, Lena. I know this is family, but it's now a federal matter. Registered with the federal government, I said evenly. Part of my security protocol. If you want to die. The room fell silent. Mom's voice wavered. Lena, what are you talking about? I don't work in consulting, I said. I'm the deputy chief of mission at the U.S. Embassy in Vienna. I'm the second highest ranking American diplomat in Austria. The old Naples cottage isn't my personal getaway. It's my designated diplomatic residence for when I'm stateside. It's protected under federal law. That's ridiculous, Dad protested, though his confidence cracked. You would have told us if you worked for the State Department. I have told you. Repeatedly. Every time you asked what I do, I explained I worked with international organizations on diplomatic relations. You assumed I meant consulting. I corrected you. You didn't listen. Mom went pale. That means we just sold federal property. Yes, I said. And diplomatic security is treating it as a breach. They're investigating how protected property ended up in a private sale. We didn't know. Jenna insisted. How could we? The designation is in the property records. I replied. Anyone doing proper due diligence would have seen it. You didn't check. You assumed you knew more about my life than I did. Dad's phone rang. As he listened, his expression shifted from annoyance to fear. This is Robert Whitmore. They're what? Already here? The doorbell echoed through the house. Through the window, 3 black SUVs idled in the driveway. Agents in dark suits approached with visible badges. That was my lawyer, Dad whispered. The Diplomatic Security Service wants to speak with us. I told you they were coming, I said quietly. Mom shot to her feet. This is all a misunderstanding. We'll explain. Whether you knew or not doesn't change what happened, I said. Grant opened the door. 5 agents stepped inside. Robert and Valerie Whitmore? The lead agent asked. I'm Special Agent Karen Holt with the Diplomatic Security Service. We need to discuss the unauthorized sale of the property at 1620 Seabreeze Court. There must be some mistake, Dad tried. There isn't, Agent Holt said. That residence is protected under State Department protocols. Selling it without federal authorization violates multiple statutes. Mom stammered. We didn't know, our daughter never told us. Agent Holt glanced at her tablet. Your daughter is Deputy Chief of Mission Lena Whitmore. She has held that position for 4 years. The property's protected status is clearly noted. Dad swallowed hard. We didn't look. No, Agent Holt agreed. You didn't. We'll know more once the investigation progresses, Agent Holt said. Grant, who had been silent until now, finally spoke. I advised them on the sale, he admitted. I helped structure the LLC transfer. I had no idea the property had diplomatic status. It's not more manned to gather towns. Then we'll need to speak with you as well, Mr. Grant Avery, Agent Holt replied. I'm married to their daughter Jenna, he added weakly. Regardless, we require a statement from you about your involvement. She turned to me. Deputy Chief Whitmore, we'll also need a formal statement from you, your role, the property's designation, and how your family gained access. They were listed as co-owners, I said. I added them years ago when I was new to the diplomatic corps and unsure of the legal process. It was a mistake. We'll need that documented, Agent Holt said. Then she gestured toward my parents. Mr. and Mrs. Whitmore, please come with us. Mom's eyes filled with tears as she turned to me. Lena, fix this. You work for the government. Just tell them it was a misunderstanding. I can't. I said quietly. You sold federal property. That isn't a misunderstanding. It's a crime. Our stand. Dad's voice rose. We're your parents. You owe us. I owe you nothing, I replied, calm but firm. You spent years dismissing my career, mocking my choices, assuming you knew more about my life than I did. You sold my home because you believed I wasn't competent enough to manage it. Now you want me to save you from consequences you created. We didn't know, Mom whispered. You didn't ask, I corrected. Agent Holt motioned again. Mr. and Mrs. Whitmore, let's go. There's no discover. As they were escorted out, Jenna spun toward me. You're really letting them take our parents? They're not under arrest, I said. They're being questioned. That's different. You could stop this, she insisted. You're some big diplomatic official. Tell them it was a mistake. It wasn't just a mistake, I said. And I can't tell federal agents to ignore violations of diplomatic security. So you're choosing your job over family? She shot back. I'm choosing reality, I said. The reality you've ignored for years. My phone buzzed. Director Monroe. Situation contained. Parents being questioned. How are you holding up? Fine. I typed back. Then another message from Agent Holt. Statement tomorrow. 9 a.m. Jenna approached again, crying. Lena, please. Do something. What, exactly? I asked. Lie to federal investigators? Pretend selling protected property isn't serious? They're our parents, she said. And for years, I replied, you treated me like I was nothing. I told you my travel was essential, I said quietly. You heard gallivanting. Grant ended his call and approached with unsteady steps. My lawyer says this is serious. Your parents could face federal charges: fraud, violations of the Foreign Missions Act. He says prison is possible. They could, I agreed. Depends on what investigators find about intent and knowledge. You have to help them, he insisted. Why? I asked. Because they're family. I shook my head. Family doesn't sell your home without asking. Family doesn't pocket a $560,000 finder's fee. Family doesn't belittle your career, mock your choices, and treat you like you're incompetent. They did all of that. Now they face consequences. So you're just going to let them go to prison? Jenna demanded, horrified. I'm going to tell the truth, I said. What happens after that isn't mine to control. If they're charged, they'll get lawyers. If convicted, they'll appeal. But I will not lie or leverage my position to shield them from the fallout of their own actions. That's cold, Grant muttered. That's professional, I corrected. I'm a diplomatic official. I cannot interfere with a federal investigation, and even if I could, I wouldn't. They broke the law. That matters more than family theatrics. My phone rang. Director Monroe. Lena, we need you back in Vienna immediately, he said. The situation here is escalating. Can you fly tonight? Yes, I replied. I'll head to the airport. I'm sorry about your family. It is what it is, I said. They made their choices. I ended the call. I have to go, I told Jenna. Vienna needs me. She stared at me stunned. Mom and Dad are being questioned by federal agents and you're just leaving. I have a job, I said. A real one. One that matters more than drama they created. You're unbelievable. No, I said calmly. I'm done letting you treat me like the problem. You sold my house. You took over $500,000. You violated federal law. Those are your problems. As I grabbed my coat, she asked, what do we tell Mom and Dad? Tell them assumptions have consequences, I said. Tell them dismissal doesn't make someone incompetent, just invisible. Then I walked out, leaving the ruins of Christmas behind. I'll tell the truth, I said. What prosecutors choose to do with it is up to them. As Marek is for now, as next dash is now dar dash, fair enough. Safe travels, Deputy Chief, Agent Holt replied. I boarded my flight business class, a privilege my family had never bothered to imagine, and settled in for the long journey back to Vienna. Somewhere above the Atlantic, I drafted my official statement for the State Department, precise, factual, and entirely free of sentiment. 3 weeks later, an encrypted message from Agent Holt arrived. The investigation had concluded. My parents had been charged with unauthorized transfer of federal property and fraud. Bayshore Holdings faced charges for attempting to purchase protected diplomatic real estate. The sale had been reversed, and the cottage restored to my sole ownership. My parents were ordered to repay the $560,000 finder's fee, plus penalties. Through a plea agreement, they avoided prison but received 2 years probation, substantial fines, and a permanent mark on their financial licenses. Dad's seat on 2 investment boards was now at risk. No board welcomed a member with a federal conviction. Mom stepped down from her charitable positions. Jenna sent me dozens of messages, all variations of "how could you do this?" I responded to none. 6 months later, a letter arrived through State Department channels. My parents' handwriting appeared on expensive stationery, still clinging to dignity. "Lena, we've completed probation and satisfied all penalties. Our attorney says the matter is closed and we should try to repair our relationship. We're sorry we didn't understand your career. We should have listened. We miss you. We're proud of you, even though we never showed it." I read it twice, then filed it away without replying. 2 weeks later, Jenna called through the embassy switchboard. "Lena, they're truly sorry. They've lost so much. Dad had to resign from boards. Mom's lost her positions. They've done everything required. Can't you at least talk to them?" "Why?" I asked. "Because they're our parents. They were my parents when they sold my home," I said. "When they took my money. When they treated me like I was incompetent. Being parents didn't stop any of that." "So you'll never forgive them?" I said. "Not now, not never." I returned to my work. Complex negotiations with Austrian officials, the kind of work my family once dismissed as gallivanting. The cas Arflation and Edracking. 3 years later, I became ambassador. My first posting, Switzerland. The announcement made international news. My parents sent flowers. I acknowledged receipt through my assistant. 5 years after the old Naples incident, I was back in D.C. for a conference. On a whim, I drove past my parents' house. Dad answered the door, looking older, diminished. The Maserati was gone, replaced by a modest Lexus. The house looked unchanged, yet somehow smaller. Dad glanced at the modest Lexus in the driveway and swallowed hard. "You came," he murmured. "I was in the area," I said. "Thought I'd stop by." Inside, Mom rose from the living room sofa, her hands twisting nervously. "Lena, it's so good to see you." "You look well," I replied evenly. Dad cleared his throat. "We've followed your career. Ambassador to Switzerland. We saw the announcement. We're proud of you." "Thank you," I said. Mom stepped forward, words spilling out. "We're sorry. Not just for the investigation or the penalties. We're sorry we didn't see you. Sorry we dismissed your work. Sorry we sold your home. Sorry for all the assumptions." Dad nodded. "We lost money, status. But losing you mattered most. We understand that now." I studied them, smaller, humbled, finally seeing me clearly. "I appreciate the apology," I said. "And I believe you mean it. But I'm not ready to rebuild anything." "We understand," Mom said quickly. "We just hope, someday, everyone." "Maybe," I answered. "But not today. I'm here to say I forgive you, not because you earned it, but because I don't want to carry anger anymore. Forgiveness isn't reconciliation, it's release." "That's fair," Dad whispered. "I have a conference to return to," I said, moving toward the door. "I wanted you to know I got your letters. And I'm doing well. I've built a life that matters whether or not you recognized it." Mom nodded. "We see that now. We see you now. It's not of and of that way, too late," I thought, but I only nodded and left. Driving away, my phone rang. Director Monroe. "Lena, how did it go?" "As well as it could," I said. "They apologized. I accepted. Then I left." "Are you all right?" "I'm good," I said and meant it. "Good. The secretary is recommending you for deputy secretary. Vetting begins next month. A higher post. A new horizon. I'm interested," I said. As the highway stretched toward Washington, I felt it fully. I was free. If my story resonated with you, I hope you'll leave a comment below. Share your thoughts, your support, or your own experiences with being underestimated by the people who should have known you best. I've learned that setting boundaries isn't cruelty, it's survival. If you're carrying someone else's expectations, let this be your reminder. You're allowed to choose yourself, too.